The choral artists of Sarasota are celebrating Independence Day with a special patriotic performance at the Sarasota Opera House. Here with more on Sounds of Independence are poet and arts advocate Cedric Hamid and artistic director Joseph Holt. Well, we've had quite a bit of fun here chatting before we got started, so let's let our viewers in on what this is all about. Joe, can you give us a quick overview of what the concert's going to look like, the theme, and what our audience should
Absolutely,
expect?
Nancy, and thank you for having us today. What a great pleasure to be here
Love
with
your
you.
tie. How perfect.
Well, it's appropriate for the occasion.
Absolutely.
And it sets the tone for this performance because the performance is a celebration of our Independence Day.
Yes.
And it has various components to it. I mean, the typical patriotic pieces you would expect, like America the Beautiful, the national anthem, and as such. But we also have a tribute to the armed forces. Each one of their service songs are going to be premiered at the Opera House, as well as the, this is the 75th anniversary of D-Day. So we have a special piece that is specifically, associated with that. Comes from Ken Burns' film, The War. And so we will pay our tribute to those veterans as well. There's also a segment that's devoted to our increasing conversation about what it is to be an American and what it is to be an immigrant of this country.
It's always good to be reminded, isn't
so
it?
It's very topical. So it has, on several layers, there's various aspects of meaning. And the end of the performance is the 1812 Overture, which is kind of a curious thing when you think about it, because here you have the Russians defeating the French, and we use it as our 4th of July celebratory event, because of all the cannons and the hoopla and stuff like that. So the audience is actually going to supply the cannons.
Oh my! Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
So they'd have to come to find out how they do that.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Can't give that away. Now, this is going to be the first time the concert's at the Sarasota Opera House. What inspired you to move it this year?
Correct. So this particular performance is at least 15, 16 years old. We've been doing it in Sarasota for that length of time. It started out at the Oslo Theater, the historic Oslo, and then we moved it to the First United Methodist Church, downtown Sarasota. And this year is our 40th anniversary and my 10th anniversary with the organization.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on both.
So we decided that we need to have a bigger hoopla about this performance. So we've invited the Sarasota Concert Band to also join us in this performance. So we need a larger stage space and a larger audience space, for that sound to develop.
Okay, one of the works that you mentioned earlier again was called Independence, and it's by a local...
Correct. So it's by a quasi-local composer, Jerry Billick.
Yes.
He and his wife live here part-time. They also live in Michigan. He was on the faculty at the University of Michigan for many years as a composer, and he has written so many incredible works for band and orchestra and also chorus. So this piece is called Independence, and it features a narrator, Cedric, who is we've been able to engage to participate in this program. And it's an amazing experience because Cedric recites the words of King George III and Parliament. And the chorus recites the words that are found in the Declaration of Independence. So it basically sets the stage for the creation of the United States. So part of this program is also historical. I mean, there's a bit of a history, but it's done, in a very artistic way. So it doesn't feel like you're sitting in a class having to take notes or anything like that.
I have goosebumps. That's great. So what inspired you to come on board and do this particular piece?
I was telling Joe and Sue prior that I had a chance to really really look at the work they were doing, why they wanted to do this, and the fact that their intent of patriotism and what the definition of it was really important to me, especially if you look at, we're constantly changing our own national climate. And I feel like there's been several different times in history where we could possibly actually take the right steps to citizenship and what it means to be a community, what it means to be a society, what it means to actually have other people in mind and truly having a love of self and a love of country as well at the same time. And I feel like being able to narrate such amazing words in history, and then what I represent as far as like being a minority male, working and doing this, I feel like we're taking so many different steps to create the future of our nation that we really want to see.
And the
but
world,
also, adding voice to it.
We all live together on
We're
this
global
one
citizens
planet,
now.
Yeah, definitely. So the fact that Joe and Sue decided to reach out to me to do this That says a lot about them, but also it says what we're trying to accomplish on a micro level that can actually affect the macro perspective when you look at like who's coming together to tell the story of our country. And I don't think there's any beautiful way to do it than doing it in this artistic vision that these guys have been doing for years. So
Okay.
it was a no-brainer.
I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. We have about a minute left, but can you give us a impromptu poem?
Yeah, I sure can. What do you
Yeah.
want me to do the poem on? Okay, I put you on the spot. You got to tell me what to do it on.
Okay. How about Sarasota?
On Sarasota?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Joe, you want to add something to that?
No,
I just want to hear about Sarasota.
Sarasota.
Okay. Imagine being broken into fine pieces, but never knowing where you belonged, and then finally the trade winds come along and it takes you to this fine powdered beach where everybody looks like you, equally as broken, but when you come together you represent something so amazing, something so beautiful that you have to come to experience. The waves wash on you just to feel your presence. The clouds agree with you every time they rise, and as you stand in your brokenness, you realize that to be a piece is to be a whole, and to be in Sarasota is where I finally found control.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's
Thank
lovely.
you. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to finish quickly because we're going to wrap up here, but the concert also features I Once Had a Dream, and there's quotes from the Declaration of Independence. So that's just another great feature.
There's an aspect to that too. It's not only the Declaration of Independence, it's also the famous Dr. Martin Luther King speech. I once had a dream.
I once had a
and
dream.
at the end of that is I still have a dream. And I think that's the ongoing experiment of America, that we had the dream and we're still continuing
working
that
on
dream.
it. Yep, great. Well, thank you both, and I look forward to seeing you on the 4th of July.
It's a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Nancy.
Thank you. After the break, we'll preview our show for next